Hi, this is Manuela, your guiding light, and this YouTube video is karmic agreements. So what are karmic agreements? Karmic agreements are a little bit different to soul contracts. They are contracts, they're signing the contracts, but in a different way. So we're learning in a different way than soul contracts. The difference between karmic agreement and soul contract is that you're still agreeing with souls to learn by returning the karma to other soul, but you are not signing any contract. The karma can be returned with no time limits. It doesn't have to be returned in one lifetime. So the difference is that when you sign a soul contract with somebody, that person is meant to teach you a lesson. You teach each other lessons. And you are not obliged to stay with the same person to learn the lesson from one design person. You can move on and learn the lesson with a different person. So you're not really obliged to stay until that person learns the lesson. When you sign a soul contract to learn the lesson, you sign with at least 5 or 6 different souls, because it's never 100% sure that you will learn the lesson with only one soul. So you sign a soul contract to learn the lesson with quite a few different souls. And this is something new, something that doesn't have any connection to past life. So it has nothing to do with karma. This is just specifically to help you to learn the lesson. You agree and you sign a soul contract. Now, the karmic agreement is different. Karmic agreement happens when you don't follow the soul contract, when you don't do as you actually plan, or when the soul contract goes completely wrong. In that case, the both souls agree to repeat that in next lifetime. But in this lifetime, they will do things differently. So let's just say, for example, if you sign a soul contract, for example, with your partner to help you to learn to stand up for yourself. And in that case, that partner meant to be quite controlling. So if you incarnate in this lifetime, for example, and the partner actually goes overboard and not just controlling you, but does really big damage to you, that's completely different than what sign a soul contract to do. And this can happen very often. Most of souls, or us humans, don't follow the soul plan and the soul contracts. The soul contracts can go completely wrong. So what happens in this case? The controlling partner, instead of just being controlled, becomes abusive and maybe beats up the partner and could even kill her. So in this case, the karmic agreements take place. So the soul contract's gone completely wrong and the karmic agreement takes place. So when they cross over, the same souls sit together and say, okay, well, you shouldn't do that in this lifetime. So say, for example, the soul of the soul that was learning to stand up for herself says to the soul that was teaching her to, or was meant to be controlling, say, okay, so you cross the line. Instead of just teaching me how to stand up for myself and just being controlling, you actually crossed the line, you killed me. So in this case, they agree, they come into karmic agreement where in next lifetime, I will have to kill you. So you learn and you don't do that to anybody again. So this is the way, again, we learn. When we do something bad to somebody, something that we shouldn't do, that has to be returned back to us in order for us to learn. And so because what happens when something really bad, when soul contract goes really bad like this, in a karmic agreement, your soul does remember them. So this is where, when you meet somebody, you have a little bit of fear. or you want to go in a relationship but you have a fear. That means your subconsciousness is releasing some sort of information from past life, which means that in past life you probably had a really bad lifetime. This soul contract or karmic agreement, it was really bad. So you probably have some karmic agreement with this person. So these are the karmic agreements. When the soul contract goes wrong and the soul that's supposed to just teach you crosses the line or does something completely wrong, in that case, you coming back and you do that to that person. In the same time, sometimes the karmic agreement can be where the person needs to fix the good karma to give you the good karma back. So if you had, say for example, a partner that you had many lifetimes with, and again they done something really bad to you, and that soul really needs to learn, maybe done a lot of damage to the other souls as well, and cannot learn and grow. In that case, in order for that soul to fix their karma, they need to do something good for you. So say for example, if they really damaged you in a past life, in this lifetime they can agree to pay you the good karma back and to do something really good for you. So it really depends how wrong the soul contract went. How many times did you repeat this karma? Because sometimes the karma can go on and on. And this is where we got the karmic trench, where we should not do what we did in a last lifetime. We're supposed to always do differently. But then again, some souls don't remember. Souls that can't learn and grow, they keep doing the same thing all over and over again. So this is where we can go into karmic cycle for many, many lifetimes. So this is where it's really helpful to pay attention to your feelings when you meet somebody, and to ask yourself questions. Okay, why do I feel this? To meditate and to ask your guides, why do you feel that? So the karmic agreement can be very different for many different reasons. If some person done soul done too many bad things, and it's basically in the bad books, or it's stuck in a matrix, usually the souls that are stuck in a matrix, they need to do many good things to souls so they can actually, I would say, fix their karma. So when I'm saying fix their karma, that means they have in their books, in their Akashic records, shows that they've done a lot of bad things to people. They've been really bad, and they owe a lot of karma to a lot of people. So they will sign a lot of karmic agreements with souls to do good things to them, especially the souls that they done bad things to them in a past life. So it really depends how many times you're coming back and you're fixing this karma. And yes, some souls, as I said, can actually be stuck in that cycle for many lifetimes, and that's really bad. That's something that we're not meant to do. We're meant to be aware of where we actually meant to return the bad karma. The bad karma doesn't always have to be returned. Sometimes you can avoid it. Even if, for example, if in a past life your partner killed you and in this lifetime you agreed to kill her or him, so they would learn and they wouldn't repeat that, you don't have to really do that. You're not obliged, because you don't have a soul contract here. You could actually avoid that, because they can learn from somebody else. That type of karma can be returned from somebody else. Maybe some different soul can actually do that to that soul that needs to learn that lesson. Or there could be a different way that they can learn the lesson. Also, they could learn the lesson by trying really to be a good person in this lifetime. So some souls would sign, okay, well, I was really bad in a past life, so I created a lot of bad karma. So a lot of people will need to give me bad karma back. But maybe in this lifetime I could actually change. Maybe the plan is to actually really change and do a lot of good things. And that way, again, the karmic agreement goes on. It's much better than paying back the bad karma. You don't always have to be bad to somebody else to give them the karma back. So try not to focus on that. Whenever you see that somebody is doing bad to you, don't ask yourself, okay, maybe I need to give them back because of the karma. No, it's always better for you to do good because you create a more good karma for yourself. And anything bad that somebody's done to you, they don't have to get it back straight from you. They can get it back from somebody else. So you could just simply say, no, I'm not going to be the bad person. Let somebody else that is the bad person give that back to them. Probably you heard that sometimes that happens, that, somebody does bad to you, and then after a few years you hear somebody's done something the same to them. And that's how the karma works. You don't have to particularly do it yourself. Give them back the karma back yourself. They can receive bad karma from somebody else. When it comes to karma, it's really important to focus on giving the good to everybody. And this is where I say even sending light to your enemies, it helps with your karma. So you don't have so much death or bad karma that you create. Now, sometimes we have situations when you are really struggling, when we have different situation when somebody it's really destroying your life and haunting you for a very long time and doesn't know how to change. In this case, sometimes you have to sort of defend yourself. This is the times when you defend yourself. And even if you have to do something bad to somebody, as long as you are aware of that and you ask for forgiveness. And that's the way you can help with your karma. Also, for example, when somebody does black magic, this is the worst karma. The worst karma that can happen, it's when somebody does black magic to you. And that type of karma can go on back and forth for centuries. So if somebody does black magic to you in this lifetime, you have to do it to them in next lifetime. And it's quite natural because it's energy, and energy has to be returned. What comes to you, it has to go back from you. So when it comes to that, this is where you definitely returning the karma to that person back. Somebody else can't do it because the energy comes to you, the energy has to come back from you. So this is the worst case scenario where the karma can go for centuries back and forth. So by sending the spell back in the same lifetime, when you know that somebody is doing black magic to you, you're returning the karma back immediately in this lifetime. So you don't have to come back in the next lifetime. But the key is always to be aware of the karma. If you understand it and if you're aware that whatever you give out, it definitely comes back to you. Maybe it's not immediately now. It can be after 7 to 10 years. Normally the bad karma comes back. Or it could be in the next lifetime, or could be in 20 to 30 years. But the energy always comes back to you. It's the law of karma states that what goes out, it comes back to you. It has to come back to you. So let's just say, for example, with black magic, even if you don't send the spell back, it will come back to them in the next lifetime. So understanding the karmic agreements, it can help you a lot. So especially when it comes to relationships, when you have a karmic agreement with somebody, especially if some of your partners, the worst karmic agreements can be with your partners and with your children. So with your partners, if you have a karmic agreement, you can't cancel the soul contract until the karmic agreement is actually complete. So if your partner owes you some good karma or bad karma, you can't walk away from it. You just have to sort of take it until it's completed, until the karmic agreement is completed. Then universe will separate you. So if you have a partner that owes you a good or bad karma, that you are bound by karmic agreements, you can't leave the relationship until that karmic agreement is completed. So if you already left the partner, if universe opens the door for you to go and to leave your partner, and I'm talking about physically leave the partner, not living with that partner anymore, not being in a relationship physically, then there are no karmic agreements. That means it was only soul contract. With karmic agreements, universe will not open the door for you to leave the relationship. So if you left relationship and your ex-partner is still haunting you and wants you back, or trying to harm you or bring you some harm, that has nothing to do with karmic agreements. That is somebody that is just not learning the lesson. That is your ex-partner not learning the lesson. That's all it is. And it's quite normal when they didn't learn the lesson that they still hooking to you and wants to harm you, or just simply cannot handle that you're actually moving on and that you love them. So usually these are the souls that are stuck in a matrix and are not learning. But it has nothing to do with karmic agreements. Karmic agreements keep the people together. So anybody that is out of your life, that actually left your life, that you're not speaking to them, that you not have any conversation to them, you are not bound by any karmic agreements. There are no karmic agreements. Soul contracts can be cancelled. If there are no karmic agreements with your partners, with siblings, with anybody else, your soul contracts can be cancelled, except your children. Parents and children cannot cancel the soul contract because, again, they are usually bound by karma. So the worst karma, the most karma that you have, it's between parent and child. So they are always bound together. You cannot cancel the soul contract, even if there are no lessons anymore, even if the children learn all the lessons and parents learn all the lessons. The karmic agreements are keeping them always together. So this is something that we can't change. We can't cancel the soul contracts, and universe or your guides will not remove any contracts from your children, because your children, by karmic agreement, you are bound to help to each other always. As a parent, you are bound to help to your child forever, for as long as you're on earth. Even when you cross over, actually, you stay in a spiritual world. You come to help to your children a lot. You are there always for them. So these are the soul contracts that are never removed, and that you can never cancel them. So even if you have a child that is not with you, or that, let's just say, for example, a couple split and took one children and one parent has no access to children, that means that is some karma, maybe in some past life. So that means that the karmic agreement is between children and the parent that has no access to children, or that doesn't see the children. So this is again some sort of karmic agreement, which means either in some past life the children walk away from a parent, abandon the parent, and now the karma is coming back where the parent has abandoned the child, or it can be vice versa. So for example, if in this child in this lifetime the parent is abandoning the child, that means maybe in the past life that child abandoned the parent. So with your parents and children, the soul contract really don't matter much. It's only important to understand what you're learning. It can help you to learn the lesson quicker, but it does not define the relationship. It doesn't mean just because you have a soul contract and the child learned the lesson, it can just walk away and ignore the rest. No, as a parent and children, they are always bound by the karmic agreement. Because if you do wrong to your child, if a parent does anything wrong to their child, they have to be bound by the karma in the next lifetime. And that can go on and on. So again, in order for parents to not to collect too much of bad karma, they need to make sure that they're always there for the child, for as long as the child lives, even after they cross over. It's the same with children. Again, being a bad child and abandoning the parents, anything wrong that you do to your parents, it's a really bad karma again. This is the karma that you can't avoid. And it's not that somebody else have to give it to you back. It's actually the same child that have to pay you back. So the same soul, it can come back and forth every lifetime to pay back to each other karma. So this is the reason why we say always to be careful what you're doing with your parents or with your children. Make sure that you always do the right thing. That way, you don't collect so much of karma that you have to return to anybody. And a good karma, if you create more good karma, by being there for your child, by being there for your parent. That's a good karma that you want to create. And collecting, the more good karma you can collect, the better life or the better eternity you have in the future. So that means in the next lifetime you will have children or parents that's going to really look after you much better and give you much more love than they did in the past life. So it means your life gets better and better every lifetime. Even that you have always challenges, you will always have parents that's going to be there for you. And that is the key. That is the purpose of parents and children. So these are the major soul contracts and soul agreements, karmic agreements that we cannot mess with. This is where we have to be very careful. This is the reason why some souls sign not to have children. Because if some young souls can decide not to have children because they are too young souls and they don't know if they can handle the challenge, they don't want to create too much karma. If somebody has already too much karma, they abandoned too many children, they had many big challenges and they couldn't actually raise their children, so they gave them away. So if they've done many lifetimes that means they collected too much bad karma. They can decide in this lifetime that they can come to earth and not to have any children until they pay back the karma. Or they are the ones that will probably adopt children. But adopting children, you actually paying the karma back for all the children that you abandoned in a past life. So a lot of souls will do that. They will decide not to have their own children and maybe help to some different children, look after somebody else's children, or adopt somebody else's child just to pay their karma back, just to help with their karmic agreements. So this is something that you need to be aware of. But when it comes to any other relationship with your romantic partners, with your siblings, with your friends, with your co-workers, with your business partners, the karma is different. Soul contracts can be cancelled and the karmic agreements last for the period. For the period that the karmic agreements last, you cannot end the relationship. You can try, but it will always kind of come back to you. So once the karmic agreement is completed, universe will separate you anyway. Even if you are in a romantic relationship or friendship or any type of relationship, when the karmic agreements are completed and you complete whatever you agreed to do to each other, the relationship will end. So the universe will open the door for you to move forward, basically. Regardless how challenging relationship, sometimes it can be, if it's a bad karma, it can be very challenging relationship and you can't leave because you're bound by the karma. So that means in past life you've done something really bad to that person. So you have to, the main thing here is really to be aware of that and to try to give love and light as much as you can. This is why it helps to give love and light as much as you can, because you are paying some debt to somebody. If you are in a bad relationship and you can't leave and you are very unhappy, that means you keep paying a debt to somebody, or somebody is paying debt to you. So you are bound by karmic agreement and you can't leave until the karmic agreement is completed. And sometimes that can be until you die. So if you had, for example, a partner that you done really good things in the past life, and in this lifetime you have really challenging life, and you sign up a soul contract or a karmic agreement with that partner that you done a lot of good things in a past life to give you good karma back, then you're going to stay with that partner until that karmic agreement is completed. So even if it's until you die, especially in that time when you are struck with some disease and you may be dying from some disease, this is where the karmic agreements are the most important. That person that is around you, that is actually looking after you when you are really sick, that is the karmic agreement. And this is something that we have not control over it. You can't push the other person away and say, I will do it. Because if you're not meant to do it, universe will remove you anyway. Universe will always bring the person that signed a karmic agreement with you So if anybody around you is sick or dying, and you're looking after that person, or you are the one that is very ill and you have somebody looking after you, that means that it's a karmic agreement. And until it's completed, you can't change it. We here from Earth can only cancel the soul contract, but karmic agreement, we can't change it. We can't put our hands into it. Until it's completed, your guides will do it themselves. Soon as they see that karmic agreement is completed, they will open the door for you to move on. And usually what happens, the person that you look after would cross over, and you are free. You paid some debt to somebody. So this is something that we cannot control. So don't try to control this type of situations. If somebody asks you to look after them, you do it. If you're not meant to look after that person, don't push yourself, because maybe somebody else owns them the karma. So this is where not being controlled, it's very important. Because if you control the karma, you create a worse karma for yourself. So I hope you understand the difference between karmic agreement and soul contracts. So soul contracts, we here on Earth can control it. Once the soul lesson is learned, your guides will sometimes remove the contract from your soul plan. That means the relationship is over. Or you can cancel the soul contract when you actually are ready. When your guides give you. Sometimes you don't need to do it. Sometimes you have to. It really depends how old is the soul contract. Depends if the other person if the other soul learned the lesson or not. So there's a lot of differences here, that many different reasons why sometimes you can cancel the soul contract, and why sometimes you don't have to do your guides just remove it from you. That's really different. You really have to look deeper into that soul contract to understand it, why, because there could be many different reasons. But your karmic agreements, you cannot do anything about it. Regardless if you learn the lesson, the karmic agreements needs to be completed. So I'm sending you lots of love and light. And if you did like this video, please click on like or subscribe. Bye-bye for now.